right now. But as the game gets going, the second half goes along, keep in mind that Brett Brown is going to give some other guys some minutes as we get off here for opening tip. But as we look at this right here, Alla, and you see Al Horford on the floor for the first time, Josh Richardson, what is the first thing that comes to your mind as Ben Simmons goes?
See Al defending out on the perimeter, but this is an enormous team, and if they can add some toughness on the defensive end as well, opponents better watch out. Think back to how Shaquille O'Neal and the Lakers used to do it. Now, we don't want to go back 25 years to the way that was played, but he posted up, got some advantages, and put shooters around him. Has a nice little backdoor cut to Tobias for an easy.
I'd like to tell you that Sixers, by the way, have made their five last shots. Ben has accounted for 13 of those points, including points and assists. Not that bad there from Ben Simmons. It was a scrimmage, and you could see he was frustrating Ben a little bit, but that's exactly what you want.
And that's the best compliment that you can have as Al Horford hangs.
It has. You've got Trey Burke, and you've also got the Sixers who added Raul Neto. And a lot of talk about what's going to happen with the backup point guard position. I gotta say, my favorite Mike Scott moment this summer had to have been the Nerf battles. If you had to see, you get some Nerf battles with some kids, and the young kids were ganging up on him.
Ruthless. Got a great sense of humor, does Mr. Scott. Just the mentality, the workman-like mentality that he brings day in and day out. One of those guys, the old cliche, first in, last to leave. That's Josh Richardson.
He wants a championship.
I was
He said that.
It better, because I want a championship too. Yes, and I think we saw last year how much it hurt him to fall short. Think about how much it stunk in that locker room when you were walking back to Toronto, and the flight home afterwards, for that matter. That couldn't have been fun. Remember all that.
Joel also said he thinks it's going to take over 60 wins to get that #1 seed. Thinks that they can get there. He's got goals again of being the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP.
It really is. And then you have the answer to when Joel is out of the game. The defense with Joel has been incredible. When he's out the game, it's been slight. But now with Al Horford, you kind of feel that game.
It's going to keep us in a lot more games than the shooting might have on certain nights, because as you know, shots don't always fall, but you can always rely on your defense, in particular on the road.
Defense has to be a staple. You know, so when you last year, respectfully, J.J. Redick was one of the most prolific three-point shooters in the game, as well as maybe in history.
Right.
But, you know, we don't have to necessarily hunt threes for him. We have a lot of capable guys, and it makes the offense more fluid. This guy, to me, is the ultimate compliment to the players that's in his 76ers uniform. And his age, he's played that. He's not a guy that came in Holly taunted. He's made himself to what he is now.
I think this was a great pickup, because at times when teams want to get physical, start pushing people around, you bring in Kyle O'Quinn. That's his sweet spot.
Ben Simmons checking back in here at the Wells Fargo Center, where the Sixers are playing the Guangzhou Long-Lions in their preseason opener.
Chance opportunities, crashes the boards, physicality.
Okay, Mike Scott, we see you. We see you over there.
They want him to shoot it.
And he does. Fans are on their feet. Let me give them what they want.
If I'm Ben, I'm saying, what's all the fuss about? This is what I do now. Leave me open. I'm going to make you pay.
Money in the bank. I've been working on that all summer long. Let me show it to you, Ben Simmons. He knows a couple of the guys that are on the Sixers.
I think his problem, like a lot of old school bigs, is that he's a back to the basket guy, and now bigs play out on the perimeter.
He's so quick, right? And he can get to places so fast. But one of the things that Brett Brown was telling us, that sometimes after you need chew up some space, in some ways it can be harmful. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
Right?
He's so important.
He is. And talking so much about him being an absolute gym rat, Tobias Harris, working out with him. Okay, Josh.
And he doesn't want any excuses. He's made it abundantly clear where he wants you to be. But getting back to your spacing, I think another thing that Ben really benefits from is we see Nicholson going to work with his post play.
Saw him so much, and that was so much talked about last season, that things are going to be different this year in action. Hello, right on cue.
And movement off the ball. I don't want to ruffle your feathers. I've been around you when you're angry. It's not pretty. Oh.
Okay, Josh Richardson, there he is, a one-handed dunk.
And right now, he's, I think, a great addition. This is a new look Sixers team. Raul Neto in the game as well.
Along with Jonah Bolden. And when we see some of these guys, we can talk about a wing tournament that is going to be going on during training camp. Great jacket they were giving away.
It was.
Remember that?
The college Letterman's jacket.
I might have copped one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sticky fingers. I saw you.
Is what he's ready to do.
Well, that's how he plays, too. I mean, he's already got himself the typical offensive rebound as Tebow hits another jump, mismatches on the offensive end.
And look, we've talked so much about Matisse's defense and not about his offense, but that is something that's been talked about in training camp, too.
Like the fact that good passers have this. As the ball is coming to you, you already see where you want to send it to. Kylo Quinn ready on that play.
Very nice move there by Raul Neto.
It's usually the case at the beginning of the year, if you're lucky. That's not a guarantee.
But that's not how it's always been with the Sixers, all right? Sixers fans know that. So to come into this game and say, we're all good to go.
Asking the right team's coach here. Usually the 76ers coach has a laundry list of injuries to discuss. Not this year for Brett Brown.
James Ennis III
asserted himself 16 points on 6 of 9 shooting from the field.
So we're seeing Furkan Korkmaz out there on the floor.
To expect some defensive effort from this team. Furkan, one of the shooters out there along with Shake in this fivesome.
And speaking of Furkan, one of the things that Brett Brown has touched on.
He's gained a little bit more experience, and with that comes confidence. He's still 6'8", which you can't teach, and he can still stroke the jumper. So, and I think he's better defender than people give him credit for. He focuses his jump shooting, but I think there's more to him as Nicholson comes in.
You know, and one of the things that Shake Milton does have on his side, to me, is Josh Richardson. Rookie year between whether it was injuries to start the season, then terrible allergic reactions. And look, he is back now, and he said that he's stronger. Brett Brown said that he reminds him of an Avery Bradley type. I wanted to get your thoughts to see if
a work in progress, though.
Okay.
Screen again, trying to get it to Richardson. Jonah one-on-one in the post.
Speaking of Jonah, the thing that he told me that he learned most from last season was attention to detail, especially in the playoffs, that the attention to detail is so extreme and that's what differentiates players from other players.
There is still, there's a lot of prime real estate and minutes out there for you to get by playing that dirty junkyard basketball. There it is again. It's not pretty, but it's effective.
And Shayok getting some time here. I've come to learn that. And
said, okay, in the grand scheme of things, with the JoJo, with the Ben, with the Al Horford, this is what I expect of you and of you. So moving forward, as Mr. Shayok knocks down the jumper, that's what last season's loss, I think, does to you. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but you know, if I'm thinking about it, they're thinking about it too, because it hurts so darn much. And you want to not ignore that. You want to acknowledge it.
I'm excited to see how Zaire Smith bounces back this year, because one of the things that he said is that, look, honestly, it feels like I'm a rookie all over again. And by the way, Shayok hitting another three-pointer there, and you mentioned Norvell Pell. And by the way, Brett Brown is with you on that one, because that was also what he said, but I'm sure that's what most coaches are going to say. Norvell Pell coming up through the Delaware Blue Coat system. It's going to make things interesting, or other types of calls that I didn't just list. And how to initiate a challenge, the team must call a legal timeout.
What I think is interesting about the challenge, and having seen it used earlier, was D'Antoni and Nate McMillan, who I think two are the savviest NBA coaches in the league.
And look, Brett Brown said that he is open to it. You know, it's going to take some working out and figuring out of kinks, and he said that they have kind of have a committee with a nice little alley-oop pass there from Howell Neto.
Look at Nick Nurse now. He's got himself an NBA championship, too.
Look at him now. And the Philadelphia 76ers are going to come away with this one, 144-86 against the Guangzhou Long-Lions.